Greetings, Andy here again, and I like, in the summer I like to do videos in this conservatory extension I've got, because there's lots of natural light in here, and this is my monthly roundup of new releases that I've bought. So here we are looking at June new releases. But this is part one, because I've got 10 in total to cover. So I'm going to do 5 now, and then a second episode next week with another 5. The reason there's so many is that there's a couple of, shall we say, recent releases as opposed to purely new. And there's a couple which were actually late arrivals in May, which I didn't pick up then. So let's get started with these 5. And to start off is Pulp. And their new album More, which is their 8th studio album, but their first in 24 years. This was produced by James Ford, who I seem to be talking about every other video. He seems to be the producer of choice, and he's done a great job on this. It's really, really well. In fact, it actually says 11 songs recorded in November 2024 by James Ford, so he gets top billing, and he has done a brilliant job on this. Of course, it's Pulp, so you know it's more indie pop than indie rock, shall we say. Great writing by Jarvis. His storytelling is as good as ever. He's he's got that sort of sardonic twist, hasn't he? But his delivery is great. There's tracks on here which are really good quality pop, like a Spike Island and Got to Have Love. They've got that sort of slight, I say aberresque, I think I'm exaggerating, but it's got that sort of slight disco feel to it. But it's not like that all the way through. There's some great mix. And it's just a lovely album. If you like Pulp and you like that sort of storytelling, and you like good quality pop as opposed to pure rock, so there we go. And this is in, what is it in? Blue Sky Thinking it's called, which is a sort of marbly affair, and single LP, 11 songs. So, light all your candles for me now, 'cause all your birthdays came at once, and don't you try to hide, it cannot be denied. I've waited far too long to believe in the words I once wrote to the song that you got. And the next one is by a band I hadn't heard of before, called Caroline. And I read a review of their album, which is called Caroline 2, and it's not surprisingly their second album, which was, I think it was on Pitchfork. It was really high score. And I thought, oh, that sounds really interesting. But then it arrived as the Rough Trade album of the month, which I was quite pleased about. So Caroline are an 8-piece collective from London, and on here they've got another Caroline. So they're on one of the tracks. It's got Caroline Polachek, and she actually appears on some of the photos. So when I do the sample, there's a photo of the band with Caroline in it. I think it's Caroline anyway. There's 9 of them in it, and there's meant to be 8. I've seen them described as lots of things in different reviews. So, experimental rock, yeah, avant folk, don't know what that is, but it's not very folky, though there is violin and so on. They've also had some comparisons to Talk and Sigur Rós, and again, they don't sound like either of those. I would actually position them, if I had to pick a band, I would say Godspeed You Black Emperor. Not because they sound remotely like them, but because they've got that sort of collective feel and the violin and so on. They veer towards post-rock more than anything else. It's incredibly varied, quite complex. There's only 8 tracks on here across a full 45-minute album. They've got tracks like Total Euphoria and Coldplay Cover. What a great name for a track. The third track on here is called Tell Me I Never Knew That, and it features Caroline Polachek, as I said, on vocals, accompanying vocals. It's really interesting, it's very different. It's not an easy listen, but neither is it a difficult one. It's just really, really good quality. I need to sort of go back and have a look at their first album. I'll have a listen to their first album, but the reviews are saying this is a step up. As with usually with Rough Trade ones, there's usually a bonus, and in this case, it's got a 7-inch one, and it's very resplendent in what do they call this? Red and black marble. And the next album was one I was quite intrigued to listen to, and I really like it. And it's Alan Sparhawk with Trampled Turtles. Now, Alan Sparhawk, of course, was one half of Low with his wife Mimi Parker, who sadly died in when did she die? In 2022 from ovarian cancer, which I think she'd been suffering with for a while. This is quite interesting because they come from Duluth in northern Minnesota on the north shore of Lake Superior, and the band Trampled by Turtles also come from there, and I think Alan and Mimi took them under their wing a little bit when they started out nearly 20 years ago, and the band have been really trying to help Alan get back on the horse, so to speak. I think they invited him to join them on stage even just a few weeks after Mimi died. And here they're providing the backing band. Trampled by Turtles are apparently a bluegrass band, but this isn't really bluegrass. This is it's more folky, if you like, but with here and there a slight sort of country feel to it. Now this album, if I sit and listen to this and read the lyrics, it has me in floods, so I can't do that. It is, it's been described as, let me read my notes, a communal act of mourning, and it really is giving out to his grief. Some of the songs actually started with Mimi before she died, but he's basically appeared with this set of songs, got in the studio with his friends Trampled by Turtles, and they recorded it in a day. I mean, it doesn't have that feel, but it is of the moment. One track on there, can't remember which one now, is which one is it? I can't remember, but his daughter Hollis, his and Mimi's daughter Hollis, sings on it, and it's quite touching. It's called Not Broken. That's right. I think I'll do a sample of that one. And this is beautifully sung, heart-rendering lyrics. Not remotely morbid. So when I say an act of mourning, don't get me wrong. It's not morbid. But it is very touching, very emotional, and the music background by Trampled by Turtles, it's really good. It's lovely, gentle feel to it. A fabulous album, and it is single album. How many tracks were there? 9 tracks, and it is on Oxblood vinyl. So
it's not broken. I'm not angry. It's not broken. I'm not angry. Oh, that sound.
And the next one is the Fuzz Club album of the month, and it is by a band called Black Market Karma, and their umpteenth album called Mellow Maker. And this is described as neo-psychedelic, and it's sort of lo-fi, fuzz-drenched, lots of sort of vintage equipment and instruments in there. So some reviewers apparently described the album as beauty in its imperfections, and it's far from perfect, but it's an enjoyable listen as long as you like a bit of psych. It's not too heavy. It's gentle. There's singing in it here and there. It's led by a guy called Stanley Belton. I'm not sure. The number of band members seems to sort of wax and wane over the years, apparently, so I'm not sure how. I suspect there was only 2 of them on this one, but the photos I saw had about 4, so I don't know. It's difficult to describe. It's just typical Fuzz Club, really good psych, not heavy in this case, as I say, slightly weird, and it's got how many tracks on it? 11 tracks. And interestingly, the inner label, the inner sleeve, it says ingredients, and it's got like a whole list of some of the sort of analog and vintage synths and things which they used to make it. I always, with the Fuzz Club, I always like to read their hype sticker, because it's always a great description, and it says, following 2024's Wobble, I've not heard any Black Market Karma before, so I can't compare it myself, is the second in Black Market Karma's 2-part album series, crafted by Stanley Belton, who writes, records and produces everything himself. It embraces analog perfections and tape wobble, spliced with modern techniques to create cassettified lo-fi psychedelia, blending 60s pop, 90s neo-psych and crunchy hip-hop breakbeats. Don't get that one. I don't get the hip-hop breakbeats. It gives temporary performances to the timeless intangible. So some of that I get, particularly the lo-fi psychedelia. That sums it up nicely. And this one is in, what colour is it? Blue vinyl. Here we are. It's a sort of funny blue. It is blue, but it's a funny blue. And like all of these Fuzz Club ones, they're numbered limited edition. This is 27 out of 350. So last but not least is not a new release. It's a recent-ish release. I think it actually came out in November last year, 2024, so 6 months old. I actually was aware. It's an artist who I do like and have some of his earlier stuff. Father John Misty, and the album is called, I need to read me notes here because it's difficult to pronounce, Mahashmashana, which apparently, I've written this down, is a Sanskrit word meaning great cremation ground, apparently. Now, at the time, as I say, I was aware of this coming out, but I thought it wasn't a priority, and I'd bought too many albums at the time, so I let it go. And then in May, I started hearing a couple of tracks on the radio. I don't know why, they were getting repeat plays on BBC Six Music, and one of them. Album, and I've forgotten which one it is. I guess Time Just Makes Fools of Us All. I was getting so much play, and I absolutely adored it. It's brilliant. Also, Screamland is very good, and interestingly, Screamland, which is really about grief, very appropriately, has Alan Sparhawk, who we've just talked about, on guitar, and that's a fabulous album. This whole album is is just really well written. Again, it is a lot about mourning and grief in here, so I'm not sure. Presumably somebody died who he was close to. It's described in sort of summary of reviews, emotionally sincere and sonically expansive. And I like that, sonically expansive. You know, this is, as singer-songwriter music goes, this is quite complex. You know, he's got a lot of guest musicians playing with him at the top, and when I say he, Father John Misty is Josh Tilling, is it? Josh Tillman, that's it. And this is his 6th studio album, and it's beautiful. And weirdly, despite being a double album, it's only got 8 tracks, two, but they're sort of reasonable length. So he's put 2 on each side on here. And it's, you know, let me just check my notes, see if there's anything more to add. No, it's a reviewer's note, a shift from the ironic detachment of earlier albums to a more vulnerable, spiritually engaged voice, but one that still retains Misty's signature wit, but trades snark for sincerity. And I think that's true. As I say, I've got 2 or 3 of his earlier albums, and not on vinyl. And I do like them as singer-songwriter go, but this is really a step up. This one to me is right. Okay, this is what he really should sound like. This is excellent musically and a complete album. So I'm rather glad I got it, and it is, as I say, a double just on plain black vinyl, and a great album. So
the wall, I guess time just makes fools of us all.
So there we have my first 5, and I've got another 5 to do next week. So thanks for watching, and come back soon.